How's it, guys? The wind is fairly bad, but I need to make this recording because I'm only going to get one opportunity to do this. So this morning I went to an auction, a local auction, not because I was looking to buy anything, but because I wanted to see what people would be bringing, what's on offer, and more importantly, what the prices are. And while I was there, I saw one of the sellers arrive and drop off a couple of Drakensbergers, and this is one of the breeds that I wanted to showcase. So I made contact with him and I asked him permission, and here I am. So if you can see, it's clear, Drakensbergers are black. This is one of the 3 indigenous breeds of South Africa, the other 2 being the Indigenous and the Afrikaner. So the history of the Drakensberger is as follows. The earliest written recording of Drakensbergers was in 1497. When Vasco da Gama rounded the Cape, he pulled ashore with his ship, and he traded 1 black ox from the local people for 3 bracelets. And he was so impressed with the taste and the quality of the meat that he actually made a recording of it, a written recording. And that's the very first record of these cattle. Fast forward 400 years, Jan van Riebeeck and the settlers came to the Cape, and they were only able to bring limited numbers of animals with, which they did. So when they landed here, they purchased some of these from the local people. And I think the locals at that time was the Khoi, if I'm not mistaken, or the Khoisan. In any case, so the Drakensberger today is a combination of the black animals that they found then and the few animals that they were able to bring over. So much so, when the fur trackers moved into the interior, the oxen that they used to pull their ox wagons were Drakensbergers. The Afrikaner developed a little bit later, if I'm not mistaken, also under similar conditions. But yeah, Drakensbergers, that's what they used. Since then, farmers have gotten together and they've kept the breed pure. And if I'm not mistaken, the Ace family in Limpopo was the very first farmers then to make a herd, build a herd of these animals, keeping them pure, and it's the oldest registered pure herd in the country. It spanned a few generations. Now you can imagine, like all indigenous animals, they'll share similar traits to the Nguni, and they'll share similar traits to the Afrikaner, and similar traits to the Thuli, and maybe even the Boran. They're obviously very hardy adapted animals. They're a medium to large frame breed, which means cows range from 500 to 700 kilos, and the bulls will range from 800 to 1,100 kilos. So they are a little heavier than like your Nguni, for example, and obviously that makes sense. You need big, strong, heavy oxen to pull an ox wagon, so that's how they were developed. That doesn't mean that they're not hardy. The name Drakensberger comes from a mountain range in Natal, the Drakensberg. Now, Drak in Afrikaans means dragon in English. So basically, the mountains, if you translate it to English, was the Dragon Mountains. Sorry, I'm stuttering a bit because this wind is really mucking me about, and I'm really trying to do a clip of which the audio won't be compromised. So in any case, so when they saw that, when the very first settlers saw the mountains in the distance, they said that the mountains looked like dragons, the knobs in the back of a dragon. So it became known as the Drakensberg, or the Dragon Mountains. And because this breed, just hang on for that gust of wind. You can see how the wind's howling. Man, it's bad. And because the breed for the very first few years was used to haul ox wagons and so forth in that area, this became the Drakensberger. So they are a little bit bigger, they are a little bit heavier. It doesn't make them in any way less adapted or less hardy. In fact, if you have a look around, these animals are grazing on maize stover. In other words, they've harvested or combined the maize, and all they have to survive on is the little bit of grass and maize leaves here. There will be some maize pips lying around and a head here and there that might have fallen during the harvesting process, but for the most part there's not a lot for them to graze on. And yet look at this heifer, she's pregnant. The other interesting thing about the Drakensberger is because people those days didn't move with large herds of cattle, this became a dual purpose breed, which means they milked them and they gave them meat. Now the Drakensberger today is no longer a milking animal, but the implication is because they milked the cows then, they actually have a lot of milk and they raise good heavy calves. So yes, this is the Drakensberger. Now what I like about this female, and I just want to show you this heifer, she's a very feminine animal. You can see she's in no way muscular. I like the fact that she's got a good angle of the pin and the hip bones, and they're also very well known for calving easily. You don't really have calving problems. I'm hoping to see a bull around here somewhere. I'm not seeing the bull. This specific farmer runs his bull with a herd all year round, so he doesn't have a designated breeding season, but even so he's doing very well. Look at this cow over here, she's an older one. She's got beautiful teats, another characteristic of this breed. They've got good udders and good teats, and while she's not overly fat, she's not emaciated either. And I'm saying again, look at their grazing. Now obviously the farmer needs to supplement these animals a little bit under these conditions, excuse me. There's no ways you're going to raise them just off this little bit of stover and still have good productive animals. Just look at that cow. Just quickly guys, I'm just going to stand still for a moment. That cow's low, she doesn't have a high hip height, but she's got beautiful length from nose to tail. That's one of the indications of animals that are earlier maturing. They don't grow very tall or very high, but they grow long. Anyway, so these animals are very well adapted. The same as with Nguni, the same as with the Thule. It developed in a time where there was no medications, there was no dips for parasites, there was no vaccines, and because this breed pretty much developed in the Drakensberg, they can handle cold. Of course, the other thing that's very important is, due to the fact that they were used to haul ox wagons, they've actually got a very good walking ability, something that we don't always think of. If animals can't walk properly, how are they meant to get to food and water? It's often overlooked. In any case, I'm waffling. I see there's a bull over there, and I really hope the wind's not mucking up my audio. There's a bull over there, and as I say, bulls can run from, they're noisy. Bulls can range from 800 kilos to 1,100, 1.1 tons. So they're big. If we have a look at this bull, short hair, he's sleek, which is what we're looking for. He's got good male characteristics. Remember, he's not in the best grazing, so he's not going to look like a show bull. But I once heard it said, if a bull looks at you, it must look like he's upset. An English term would be the murin. It must look like he wants to tackle you. So that's a beautiful bull, good male characteristics, sleek, not hairy. The cows, well, the heifers are a little hairy if you look at them, but they're still young. And hairiness also has to do with hormone and hormonal balance. Very often animals are hairy until they calve for the first time, and then they become sleek. So the majority of these animals, if I look at them, are heifers. There's one or two red ones in between. They're not Drakensbergers. But for the most part, these animals are beautiful. And for the most part, you can see they're actually doing well despite the poor grazing. In the background, you can see a tank with water. So they would need to walk from the water here to that tree line over there. That's as far as the camp goes. Now, that's not extremely far, but it has been proven scientifically that animals don't like to veer more than 200-300 meters from the water. So they overgraze with the perimeter or a circle or a circumference of 200 meters from your water. But these animals need to move all over because they need to find food. Another good thing that you can see on these animals is the bellies. They've got good gut fill. Now here's a heifer. She's going to calf soon. You can see she's got quite a nice belly to her. She's got a beautiful teat. She's got beautiful teats and a beautiful udder. Once again, guys, these things are important. If the teats are too big, the calves can't suckle. They struggle to suckle. Anyhow, guys, the wind's howling too much. I just want to have a look at this cow. She's gorgeous. She's really lovely. The one on that side, not so much. However, this big cow will probably be closer to the 650-700 kilo mark. Not ideal for ultra high density grazing. Big cows, she's beautiful to look at. It doesn't mean I want her on my farm. The animal in the background there that's smaller and lighter, that's the better producing animal for your ultra high density grazing type application. She doesn't look impressive, but she's just a factory. She's just there to raise calves. I see some calves in the background, so I'm going to walk over to them quickly, just so that you can see what they look like. If I sound rushed and slightly agitated, guys, please forgive me. It's the wind and the weather. As I said, I'm not going to get another opportunity to do this. Just by the way, besides coming here to record this, I've come to have a look at a couple of heifers. And we've agreed that he'll sell me some, so we're just going to do the calculations as to what the cost will be and how many heifers I'm going to purchase, but probably only 5. So right, this cow is looking after these 2 babies. One of them must be hers, if not both. Look at those calves, they're beautiful. We're in July, which is supposed to be our coldest month of the year. Those calves are shining, they're beautiful, they're doing well. And she's not looking bad either. A little bit heavy for my liking. But remember, guys, you get differences within breeds. You get a lot of variation within a breed as well. Anyway, guys, I'm going to cut this short. I don't want to waffle too much. I feel a little rushed, but I think this is a good, fair representation of how hardy these animals are. I haven't seen much in the form of licks. There's 2 tires, and the volume of those 2 tires tells me that he feeds, but not a heck of a lot. So this is a tough herd. This is a herd worth looking at. Guys, have a good one. We'll chat again. Cheers.